This car is a tremendous piece of shit.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting.
This is a 95 Jetta, and 2 years ago this car would have been about $12 and a half-eaten bologna sandwich that you found in a dumpster behind a 7-Eleven. But right now, this is a $1,000 car. So let's say you found this bad boy on Facebook Marketplace and you go to somebody's house to check it out. You gotta start by hooking up the battery because it's disconnected. And the reason why it's disconnected is because when the car is just sitting, the right turn signal constantly stays on and will kill the battery. You have 3 keys, thrice on the key department. One of them is a Volkswagen key, the other 2 are blank keys. Let's try the Volkswagen key. Nope, not that one. Let's try a blank key. Turn it. Well, it doesn't start. Maybe you gotta push the clutch in to start it. It's gotta, nope. What's this button here do? Ah, that cranks it over, but the key wasn't on. Oh, hey, there it started. Listen to that baby purr with that uneven idle. And maybe you're cool with what you just saw and you have very low expectations and you would take this car and say, see you later, bye. I would recommend inspect it thoroughly yourself or have a shop like one of our shops here in Cornelius or our new one in Ohio. Look over the car for you. So we're about to do that in this video so you can check out all the amazing things that we're gonna find on this car. They say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes the cover is an ugly piece of shit. For example, what had happened to this hood situation here? I frankly don't quite know. The outside of the car looks okay. The inside under the hood looks significantly worse, which is kind of backwards. I don't really get it. To start, under our hood here, you can see the cowl piece is missing. So there's all kinds of acorns and leaves under there. So that's pretty neat. This antenna trim piece is gone. No shocker there. And we're missing a wheel bolt. So 3 out of 4 ain't bad. The tint on the car is mostly peeling off. Well, that's me peeling it off, but a clear coat is also peeling kind of like the tint. And if you look, some places there's mirror tint, some places there's blue tint. Unlike the side and other side tint, this one is black, unlike the blue and or mirror tint. Because that's how you tint cars, apparently. You just, whatever you find laying in a dumpster, you just throw it on there. You think they just went behind a tint shop and then like just picked up scraps that they were throwing in the trash? We are missing our Volkswagen emblem, but we do have our GL logo. This means go low, so that's what we're gonna do, go low. The rear bumper, it's unclear if this is just wear and tear or if someone actually like roll painted this with a paint roller. It looks real bad. The paint on the bumper, the rest of the paint on the car, other than the fact clear coat's peeling, is actually looks normal old. This looks like something different. I can't really identify what it is. Got a ding here. This is like an old gate, old weather vane at a farm. Your parents have a really old bed.
Hey, at least they match the chrome tint.
Yeah,
They're consistent with the chrome.
They're consistent with the chrome tint. This side has chrome here. That side has chrome there. No chrome tint anywhere else on the car. More clear coat peeling, but overall, the body of this car, for a car that's this age, is decent, I would say. Needs paint, for sure. Needs a little bit of love. A lot of love. Oh, we also have a broken windshield. Someone was either super angry and they were yanking on that mirror, or they were trying to get it off. They're trying to put on a wink mirror, probably. The alarm is armed. I don't even know how that's possible right now. Much like many of the older seats on these cars. I mean, look at this bolster. This bolster is so flat. I can feel the seat frame with my hand, legitimately. That white line in the fabric is because the seat frame is actually rubbing the other side of this. As you can imagine, it's a real comfortable seat. 276,000 miles, 826. So I've said it before, I probably said it many years ago. This car right here is one of the most reliable Volkswagens ever, by far. Cheapest to maintain, cheapest to buy, most reliable. It's a Sony. I was hoping it was an Explode. Let's see. Back in the day when they used to have faceplates that came off, people were stealing radios out of cars. So you would take your faceplate off and like put it in your glove box and lock it, or like take it with you.
I think radios were the OG catalytic converters.
They were the OG catalytic converters. It was radios, then it was xenon headlights. It looks like this radio doesn't turn on. Well, oh, that's why. It's not plugged in. I don't know where the wires are for this car. These are factory plugs, so that's fine. But there is no harness to actually plug into this radio. This radio was merely for aesthetic, if you didn't know.
So beautiful.
If you want to take a look at this particular radio, this was an aesthetic piece. That's pretty incredible. Headrests are in the back there. The back seat looks like someone had an accident in the rear seat here.
I didn't even see the headliner.
Oh, the headliner has been rewrapped in someone's spare picnic blanket.
I kind of liked it, but now you made me not like it.
I mean, it's pretty. This might be the nicest thing on this entire car. Is this red stitched boot? When the center console is a little. It's something. It moves a little bit when you use your e-brake, when you operate your e-brake. Also, there's this wire. Good God knows what this is. Oh, ooh. This is for our start switch.
Oh.
I actually figured it out. Clearly there's a power and a ground here. They do both use the same color wire, which feels like home wiring because it's very brittle. This is not automotive wire, I'm pretty sure, because this stuff's very stiff. That is not what you're supposed to use inside cars, so I guess it's better than speaker wire. Now, before we get any further, we can assess, is this car worth $1,000? A $1,000 car is all a matter of perspective, because right now, a decent running Mark III is probably like $3,000. So we're still $2,000 in savings into this fine piece of machinery.
Yeah, but we haven't looked under it yet.
We don't know about the rest of the story yet, so we'll have to reserve that for later. This is a mystery. I think this. I think you might have to unlatch it from inside the car. Yeah, I don't hear anything. Let's see if we can fold down these rear seats. There's a zip tie that attaches to what I presume is the latches system for the rear seats. The trunk has quite a few spare items in there if you'd like to take a look, which is good news. You need parts. When you buy a car that has a bunch of spare parts in it, that's a good indication that you're buying a car that has extra parts for a reason. Actually, let's go for a quick test drive. And as always, before you test drive a car, safety first. Nathan has no buckle, and I have no seat belt that moves. I guess he could try to use my buckle since I can't use it. This car has a coolant light on it. I think it's out of coolant, so our test drive is gonna have to be short because this car might have been leaking coolant of some kind. You know. Oh my goodness.
Oh God, the brakes work before you send it at the gate.
Oh, it stops.
That's the one thing
Feel
it
that?
can do.
Yeah.
Look at this spiderweb windshield. I love it. I love that you've done it with the place.
I love what you've done with this place. Got a picnic basket for a headliner. The good news is even if it's overheated, it's a 2-liter ABA, so they're pretty durable. Yeah, I mean, the steering is, I would describe it as at minimum imprecise. When you turn to the right, it really doesn't do anything. See, you could turn 1/4 turn without it doing anything at all. Does it sound like Absolutely. I'm falling off of this seat because the bolster is so non-existent. I'm like falling off the edge. Oh, also there's that too. So you don't want to go too fast. No seatbelt, and the seat is like a rocking chair. I don't know what's under the hood in terms of problems yet, but the car starts, runs, and will get you from point A to point B for $1,000 and probably legitimately do it reliably.
With no seatbelts?
With no seatbelts, so that's a problem. So you'll need to get some ratchet straps to hold yourself into the seat. The turn signal situation of it flashing only turns on when you turn the key off. So you turn the key off and then it click, clock, click, clock, click. I also tried unplugging the hazard switch and the turn signal stalk to see if they were the problem. Good news, they're not, which means someone did something where they spliced wiring together that shouldn't be together in this car somewhere. Also, I just backed this up for Nathan to get B-roll, and apparently it's leaking oil.
We drove it for 4 minutes.
So we're gonna look under the hood and under the car, but first I have to put on my pretend technician shirt. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm sure there's gonna be oil all over our floor now from this stupid car. Let's look under the hood. To start, we're gonna remove our negative battery terminal so the car is able to start when we're done with this inspection. Also, this battery is obnoxiously large for how small this car is. 810 cold cranking amps. Looking over this car, nothing too crazy. There's a little bit of tape here on this PCV pipe that goes to the intake boot. That's not shocking. The boot's probably ripped and then they just did this because they're like, you know what, this is gonna, oh, well, there we go. There's a problem too. Your finger's not supposed to go into there like this. There's also this vacuum leak situation right here. I don't know, this might be the wrong throttle body for the car, and there's supposed to be coolant going through this. If we look, we've located our oil leak, which is right down here. This is the oil filter housing. There's the oil cooler, and then the oil pressure switch right here appears to be leaking either from the gasket where it bolts to it, or maybe from the top part. It's a bad oil pressure switch that's just leaking straight out the back. Coolant, as mentioned, non-existent. Oh, there it is. It's at the very bottom. It bubbled a little bit from the heat. So there is coolant in there. Oh, also this right here, this is the wire we found in our center console, which means this battery goes directly to that start button. This car would be very easy to steal, number one. Yeah, this car is essentially permanently hot wired. Now that hot wiring is really smart, especially because this key doesn't actually lock this door. We have no way to lock a car that is permanently hot wired that you could literally just take with a hammer or a screwdriver and then just push the button and drive it away. The plug wires here still have the writing on them from Bremy, so that means that they're fairly new-ish. There is a coolant leak right here that you can see slightly from this kind of rust spot. Starter has this weird jumper lead to it as well. That's interesting. It's not plugged into anything, but it is there in case you want to steal it this way. Before we get underneath, we're going to check things in the suspension. So one thing you do with cars to check the suspension is you can go this way, side to side, rotating this way to see if there's play. And there is, which means we have a tie rod issue. So either the inner or outer tie rod is bad, and it looks like the inner. Then you can go this way, up and down, to see if you have a wheel bearing issue. This one seems to be okay. This side, tremendous amount of play in the tie rod. Quite a bit, as you probably can see it even visually on this one. Well, first of all, it's got rear calipers, which is actually impressive. That's how well the wheel turns. The e-brake is off. Also, if we take a gander in here, you can see this spring is not green. The ones up front are green. Not only does this car have cheap coilovers on it, it has two different sets of cheap coilovers on it. Further evidence that it was built from parts found in a dumpster outside of a 7-Eleven. This wheel, better. To be fair, it could be partially like rust that's built up, but it does feel like these wheel bearings are probably a little bit of play, but these are packed bearings, so like that's not that rare. I'm gonna pull this wheel off. Luckily, we only have 3 bolts, so it's 25% off the effort. So these brakes, as you would imagine, they've probably just pad slapped them every time they replace these and not the rotors. So you can see this lip is very significant. As you can see, these coilovers may have been on here for a little while because the boot, the protection dust boot is rotting away. It's like non-existent. Like any Mark III or any old car you're gonna deal with, you wanna look over it and see how much rust there is. And this car actually doesn't have that much rust on it. There's a little bit right here, a little bit right there. You would expect to see the rockers crushed on these cars. If you come around this side, you can see they're quite crushed under here. We do have a lot of mud because the car has been sitting probably in a field. As we move towards the rear of the car, you can see a part of the reason why it sounded so fast and furious is because it didn't have a muffler here.
It's hard to look for rust because everything's orange from the mud.
Yeah, there's so much mud on this car, it actually is very difficult. I don't even know what this is, actually. I'm looking at, there's a metal bracket of some kind that appears to just be kind of smushed in here. Yep, it once held the brake line in. I'm not sure what it's doing right now, but it's not doing that. Fuel filter, it's not original, so that's pretty good. As we look towards the front of the vehicle with the engine, there's not any rust here, mostly because it's been leaking oil all over the car, which saves you from rust. It's great. So there you go. If you have a massive oil leak, just don't fix it. Let it spray oil all over your car. It'll never rust.
That's a good tip.
Good tip. These bushings are actually okay. Surprising, a lot of the bushings in this car are way better than I expected. They're there, which is in and of itself a miracle. Yeah, that one's not really doing bushing things.
That's what you want, right?
Well, it's old car problems. It's about to separate if we continue. So the trans and engine have been separated clearly at some point, and this spacer that goes in between has just been smashed to pieces, and then a complete Neanderthal put it back in. So it's coming from the oil pressure switch, which is up top there, but there's some damage on the pan here that it could be coming from there. Also, this situation here, it could be a rear main seal problem. Very difficult. This is the kind of situation that when you have this much oil, you have no chance. You should fix, we know the oil pressure switch is a problem. I would fix that, then clean all of this off, and then start over and drive it and see where the next oil leak's gonna come from, because I can almost assure you there's probably 2 to 3 leaks on this car, not just one.
So, is this car worth $1,000? That's gonna be a subjective opinion, but let's go over what it definitely needs to make this car safe to drive. 1, a driver's side seat belt and passenger side seat belt buckle, assuming you convince a friend to actually get inside this car. 2, tie rods on both left and right sides. 3, you have to fix the oil leak from the pressure switch and potentially other ones. The driver's side control arm bushing, or really you could just replace the whole control arm, because on cars that old, they're generally fairly cheap for aftermarket ones. The windshield on this car is also busted, which is not great, and depending on your area, may or may not be able to be roadworthy. If you are a Florida man, they don't require just about anything in Florida, so you can just roll with that windshield if you want. The driver's side door lock, if you'd like to lock your vehicle ever, you're probably gonna need to get that rekeyed to make sure that that's usable. And lastly, ignition switch / push button start jumper wire situation. You will need somebody who's talented enough to diagnose why this is happening. If it includes the situation with the alarm, the hazard lights, all that stuff is kind of tied together, I'm pretty sure, and there's something that has been shorted, and that's why that stuff is happening. And once you fix all these problems, you will have a car that would be reliable. The 2-liter ABA in a manual is going to be an extremely reliable car, assuming you'd like to drive a car that looks like you stole it from a homeless person. Thanks so much for watching. If you like these inspection videos, make sure you leave in the comments below, and we can try to make some more stuff like this and have some fun.